This was our second year working to build a true golf course fairway around our putting green, and we made big progress to have it ready for Masters Week. After the long hot summer last year, the fairway we had built was completely dead and covered in nothing more than dirt and weeds. The Bermuda seed we tried to sow was a complete failure, as we soon went into a drought and I couldn't water it fast enough to grow. So now we're in a position of starting over to get the fairway ready for spring. We got started back in September by cutting the native grass as low as possible to prepare for sowing rye seed. I used the push mower for the first cut as the weeds and grass were a little thick, but came back later with the reel mower to get it cut very low. I had used weed killer on the bunker a few weeks earlier to kill everything off, so all I had to do was use the push mower and the weed eater to get it cleaned up and ready to go as well. I also used the weed eater to edge around the green, and as you can see, the kids were of their normal level of help. I came back to clean up the scraps around the green later, but next up I used the reel mower to get one last mow in, bringing down what was left of the grass and weeds to its lowest level. And after a little cleanup work with the blower, I pulled Wilson off the putting green for once to have him pull the plug aerifier all around the fairway to punch holes everywhere. This pull behind aerifier from agri-fab has been a great tool for us while working on the fairway, and we will likely be using it in a lot more areas soon as well. Over at the bunker, all I had to do this year was use our Stihl garden tiller to get it chopped up. Last year I bought in a few truckloads of topsoil to build it up a little higher, but this year that wasn't needed and just a simple tilling had it ready for seed. While at work, I used the metal garden rake to rake all the weeds out of the sand, but I'll be adding a lot more fresh sand to it soon when it's time to sand the fairway. Once we got into the middle of September and cooler weather and rain was in the forecast, I got the spreaders out to start sowing the ryegrass seed. As always, I used the drop spreader to walk around the edges of the bunker and putting green to try and keep as much seed out of the sand and off the green as possible. Once done with the edges, I transfer the leftover seed to the broadcast spreader so that I can cover the entire fairway quickly and evenly. I go over the edge of the green one more time with just my hand to try and get grass growing right up to the edge of the putting surface. And after that, I do one more pass around the entire fairway with the broadcast spreader to be sure we don't leave any bare spots. Last up, I spread fertilizer and then bring out the yard roller to get the seed compacted down into the dirt. Despite having 70% chances of rain that night, I went ahead and heavily watered the entire area with the garden hose just to be sure to get the seed germinating. But sure enough, the rain came in, and it was a perfect soaking rain that did exactly what was needed. At this point, the work was done for a few weeks, and it was on to the worst part of the job, which was waiting for the seed to sprout. But conditions for ryegrass were perfect, and it only took about a week to see green starting to pop up everywhere. But sure enough, after about 3 weeks, we already had thick lush grass growing, so I bought the reel mower back out to start lowering the blades. I had already used the push mower once to bring it down, but it was still thick enough to give the reel mower some troubles. I had a lot of grass clogging up the blades, and I was likely trying to cut down too much of it at once, but we just stopped every lap or two to clear out the blades and eventually made it through. Seeing the stripes made it start to look like a real fairway again, and while it was still too thin, I had to test it out with a few pitch shots before getting started with another round of overseed. And as we got into October, I did a light round of overseed focusing on the thinner spots, and after that I did the most painful part of the job, the sanding. This is something that has to be done to level out the ground and make a more authentic fairway. However, it is a very tiring process to do by yourself, and I never look forward to this part. As you can see, the grass around the bunker looked perfect at this point, and it was ready to be cut down. I also did some overseeding on some of the bare spots using a hand aerifier and spreading the seed by hand. Once done, I used the leftover sand to fill in the bunker, and we had it looking perfect. I had my little friend to help me water it all in, but once again, we had a perfect rain move in later that night. With this part of the job done, I was very happy, but also very sore. But fortunately, there wasn't much left to do until early spring. The sanding process always makes me feel like we've gone backwards with the appearance. However, the results just a few weeks later make it worth all the work. Just a few months later, we had our first big snowstorm since moving to the farm, and while it was absolutely beautiful and we had a lot of fun, it wasn't exactly great for the grass. We also had some uninvited guests show up and treat the grass like their own personal salad bowl. Therefore, when we got to the 1st of March, we had some serious maintenance to get done to bring the fairway back to life in time for Masters Week. All I had to do was another overseed and the first round of fertilizer of the year, but instead of aerifying again, I borrowed my father-in-law's Verticut attachment that also acts like a drop spreader. This thing worked to perfection, and I may have to look into getting one for myself next season. As we got into April, the grass had taken off, and I let it get away from me a little due to Wilson's heavy golf tournament schedule during that time. So I made the first few cuts with the zero-turn mower to slowly bring the height of the blades back down. With Masters Week only days away, I had to get the bunker mowed down and looking good, and after that, it was time to bring out the reel mower again and start mowing stripes. Once again, I tried taking down too much at once, but I had to be ready for Sunday at the Masters. And while it was still about 1 week away from being in peak condition, it still looked really good. And there were certain people who couldn't help but start practicing on it. What started as putting a golf hole in the dirt has really transformed into something special. And Wilson's golf game is starting to take off with the amount of work he has put into his short game here. This makes all the work worth it, and I may even have to think about going bigger in the near future. 1 week after the Masters, we striped it again and had it looking its best of the year. There's still a lot for me to learn to get it close to true golf course quality, but this has turned into a really fun hobby, and nothing beats having short game contests with the kids at sunset in the evenings. Thanks everyone for watching, and be sure to subscribe to follow along, hit that thumbs up button for us, and we will see you soon.